Hey guys, EC Network here, coming at you with another video. So this past Monday, we got a rather surprising announcement from Cartoon Network, and that is that they're rebooting both the Powerpuff Girls and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Yes, you heard me correctly, there is going to be a second Powerpuff Girls reboot, and there's going to be a reboot for Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. So it turns out that this time around, for the Powerpuff Girls reboot, they're going to have Craig McCracken return as the creator, producer, and director of the new reboot. Not only that, he's also going to create, produce, and direct the Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends reboot as well. So we actually have a statement here from Sam Register who says, "The Hanna-Barbera Homecoming of Craig was an opportunity we could not pass up. Along with his unparalleled sense of fun and imagination, he's bringing two of his greatest works in the Powerpuff Girls and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, and we are excited for these characters to be a part of the new legacy taking shape at the studio." So yeah, that statement not only confirmed that number one, we're getting a Powerpuff Girls and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends reboot, Craig McCracken's returning to work on these, but number three, they confirmed that this is actually being produced by Hanna-Barbera Studios, which, if you guys remember, that is the rebranding of Cartoon Network Studios Europe. So these are going to be produced by the same studio that brought you Elliot from Earth and The Amazing World of Gumball. So I find it rather interesting that we're getting yet another Powerpuff Girls reboot. This is in addition, obviously, to the 2016 reboot that was on Cartoon Network that wasn't exactly a huge success, to say the least. And obviously there was the original series, there was Powerpuff Girls Z, there's the live action reboot that they're working on at the CW. So this is going to be the fourth or fifth Powerpuff Girls series, depending on whether the live action one comes out first or this new reboot comes out first. But we actually have a statement here for what this series is going to be about. And it says the Powerpuff Girls reboot revisits and expands upon the world of the original series as Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup face off against a gallery of villains comprised of familiar foes and new threats. So yeah, it seems like this new reboot for the Powerpuff Girls is going to be much more in line with the original show as opposed to the 2016 reboot that we got, which I would say that's not that surprising given that Craig McCracken is returning to, create, produce, and direct this series. I would imagine that he would want to keep it true to the original as opposed to what they did with the reboot back in 16, which, by the way, this is going to get awfully confusing that now there's going to be four, or rather three Powerpuff Girls reboots. See, I'm already getting confused here, guys. We have the 2016 reboot, we have this new reboot whenever it comes out, and then we have the live action reboot. The one thing I will say about this new reboot, though, that I am a bit curious about is why they're exactly rebooting the Powerpuff Girls again. Like, Craig McCracken's returning for this series, which is great, obviously, because it's great to have the original creator back, but it doesn't really make sense as to why it's another reboot. Why not just make a sequel series to the original series? Why not just continue where that left off instead of rebooting it yet again? They said there's going to be familiar foes and new threats in this series, but why not just have it be a sequel then? Why not have these familiar foes from the original return and then have some new villains in the show as well? To me, that would make more sense. I mean, the only reason I could possibly imagine them not wanting to do a sequel series is because that's what the live action show is going to be, and that's what they're hoping people migrate from the animated original series to this new live action one. So secondly, we have the Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends reboot, as I mentioned before. This one has a bit of a catch. I was actually really excited for this one when I saw the headline, but then I read about it and it's a little bit less exciting unless if you're in a very specific market. So the Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends will return as an original preschool animated series with a new cast of preschool aged imaginary friends promised to be as silly and playful as the original bunch. So yeah, this isn't going to be a reboot as we all initially thought. This is going to be bringing back the Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends brand as a preschool original animated series, which obviously is a lot less exciting than hearing that Foster's is returning. This is not going to be a reboot meant for older audiences. This is going in the other direction. This is going to be a reboot meant for younger audiences, preschool kids to be exact. The thing I find interesting about this is, number one, I will say that while I am a little disappointed that, or more than a little disappointed, I am disappointed that this is going to be for preschool programming block, Cartoonito, and not for regular Cartoon Network. I am happy to hear that they're doing something with the Foster's brand. I absolutely love Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, and I'm happy to see that they're doing something new with that brand, but I find it a little bit odd that they're reintroducing it in the preschool space. Like, I would have imagined that if they want to bring back the Foster's brand, maybe bring it back with a movie first. Like, I've said this in many videos before, bring it back with a one-time movie on HBO Max, and that's that. But if they want to bring it back as a series, then why don't they make a sequel show to the original? Maybe Mac is a little bit older, maybe he's a teenager now, and something happens at the Foster's home that he needs to start helping out more. Maybe he's doing it as like a summer job or something like that, instead of bringing it back for preschoolers. Like I said before, I am happy to see that this brand of Foster's is back, but it seems like it's not going to have anything to do with the original. It says a new cast of preschool aged imaginary friends, so does that mean it's going to be Mac, Blue, Eduardo, Wilt, and Coco again? The way this statement sounds, it sounds like it's going to be all new characters. Again, we're reading a lot into this statement because a new cast could end up being, you know, the characters that I just named before, plus some new characters they create for this show, but I would have enjoyed it more and would have been more excited for this if they announced, hey, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends is coming back with the classic cast that you all know and love, but with a bunch of new characters joining this cast, where Mac is aged up and maybe, you know, Frankie's running Foster's now instead of Madame Foster. Maybe she retired or something. I think that would have been much cooler to see than a preschool program. But I will say this shows that Cartoon Network is thinking of the Foster's brand. We all know for a long time they've been thinking about Powerpuff Girls. Obviously, it's been rebooted already in 2016. This shows that they're also thinking about Foster's, which could open the door in the future to potentially them bringing back Foster's for older audiences, or even reviving the original series, which is something that I hope we see at some point, because like I said, I'm excited to see Foster's is back, but this isn't exactly targeted towards me. I'm not gonna watch a preschool version of Foster's. I'd rather see a movie, a revival, or even a sequel series. Anyways, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about all of this. Are you guys excited or disappointed to see that we're getting yet another Powerpuff Girls reboot, and that we're getting a preschool reboot to Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.